What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mastery Podcast. I hope you're all doing well. In today's episode, I want to talk to you about comparison. Some people call it comparison syndrome. If you follow me for any amount of time, I'm not somebody that likes labels. I'm not somebody that would be comfortable with somebody saying, I have this. You see, to me, comparison syndrome is this. If you want to call it comparison syndrome, let's just call it comparing. When you compare yourself to somebody else, 9 times out of 10, what you're saying is, this person has so much more than me. This person's achieved so much more than me. In fact, 9 times out of 10, you're saying, I actually just want to be that person. And in doing all this, you make yourself very, very aware of everything great about them. They have this, they have that, they have this, they have that. And naturally what happens when you start to do that is you become very unaware of you. So you start to just put yourself down. I don't have this, I don't have that. You know, they've got this, they've got that. And it's the fastest way to collapse your self-confidence, self-belief. Whenever I talk to anybody about comparison, and I say, but why are you doing this? And they go, I don't know, but it's just killing me. It's not helping me move forward. Every time I try and do something, I think I'm not good enough. And I say to them, well, let's look at it like this. I explain to everybody that you have a North Star, a direction that you're going to in your own life. I remember asking my late father this question, Dad, do you ever compare yourself to anybody? And he said, he always used to say, my boy. And he said, my boy, why would I compare myself to anybody else when I've got so much I want to achieve for myself? I've got so much around me that I can work on for me. I haven't got time to compare myself to anybody else. And in all fairness, what I'm building is completely different to anybody else. Now, my father didn't study personal development, self-mastery, or anything that a lot of us, me included, would study. And I look into this and I was thinking, why did he never compare himself? He had such an inspired vision for himself. Like he would wake up every morning and just was so focused on his own thing. When I started to study comparison and imposter syndrome, another one which I'll cover in another episode, I started to realize that the people that compared themselves to others had very little direction, very little clarity, very little certainty. In fact, most people that compare themselves to everybody else are not actually that happy. So when I started to work with fitness professionals from a business perspective, and I started to talk to them about, is there any level of comparison there? And they go, well, yeah, I haven't achieved this, I haven't achieved that. And I said, well, where are you trying to get to in your life? What are your targets? What are your goals? What do you value deeply? You see, everybody else in the world that's doing their own thing is focused on their own thing. If you're comparing yourself to other people, it just tells me that you're not certain and confident in you as a human being. You are not clear of the things that you value deeply. You're not clear of where you're going. And as such, you start looking at everybody else and seeing what they have and going, should I have that thing? Should I be doing this thing? Should I have accomplished this thing? And the word should generally tells me that you are looking at everybody else and subjecting the things that they value into your world, which becomes very, very confusing, because the simplest way to identify what it is that you value the most in life is to just look at this immediate space that you spend your time in every single day and go, well, I'm surrounded by nutrition books. I'm surrounded by training books. For me, it was bodybuilding books, and it was muscle building, nutrition, fat loss. It was education around my clients and my coaching. And I was like, wow. So if I'm comparing myself to somebody that travels the world, that's an influencer, that doesn't do a lot of coaching, yet all around me every single day is coaching books, it's unrealistic for me to be comparing myself to somebody else who's got a life that's completely different to what I want. I want to coach. I want to develop my knowledge, my skills. I want to help a lot of people. I really, really enjoy face-to-face work. Well, if you put me on an island, or if you put me in different countries every single day where I was just doing YouTube and traveling and not making an impact on a personal level with one-to-one, I'd be very unfulfilled. So it's not right for me to compare myself to somebody who's got completely different values to me. And what I often do is I get people to, when it comes to comparing, is I write down on a piece of paper on the left-hand side, what are you actually comparing yourself against this person? Why are you comparing yourself? Well, they have this amount of money, they have this, they have that. But that's all relative to what they've got because of what they want in their life. Now I ask you to identify the things that you truly value, your family, education, coaching. And I say, well, write those down on the right-hand side of the piece of paper. And relative to what this person has, what are the downsides of doing the things that that person does relative to the family life that you have, the education that you want, and the coaching, the one-to-one or online or whatever you're doing relative to your life? Well, if I was traveling around the world, sitting on beaches, recording YouTube videos, I wouldn't have my family. And I certainly would miss the ability to work one-to-one. But you're comparing yourself to this person saying that that's what you want their life. What if that person's single? What if that person has no responsibility to other people? Is that a life that you truly want? My point to you here is, whoever you're comparing yourself to, there's huge downsides to their life. You're only aware of the things that you perceive to be amazing, but you also have to be very, very aware of the things that will not complement the things that you want in your life. And going back to my father now, my father loved travel, building his legacy and his family. You can tell all the time he was thinking of where he could go next. He would go skiing, and he was focused on, if you understand the property market, he was focused on making an impact in the private renters sector in the property industry. And to do that, he had to build his own portfolio of property. And in doing so, he was focusing on his own North Star, his own destination. And he was so clear of what he was doing, there was no reason for him to compare himself to anybody else. So my point to you in today's episode is this. Firstly, if you're comparing yourself, ask yourself, write down on a piece of paper, what are you comparing yourself against? Is it against your own values, or is it against the things that they value? Because the person that's achieving their own life and doing their own things is doing them in line with their own values. If you're looking at somebody else and going, I'm comparing myself to them, but I have very different values, and a part of what they have I'd love to achieve, but most of what they have I don't want to achieve, then you say to yourself, well, it's completely the wrong person to compare against. And therefore, what you will also understand from this episode is that the more that you compare yourself to other people, it's reminding you that you're not focused on where you want to be. So the next time you feel like putting yourself down, when you listen and watch and engage with people's content, just say, aligned with who I am, where I want to be, what I want to achieve, and what makes me happy, would everything that they have complement that destination for me? And in 99% of the cases, it's no. And then we take that person and we go, boom, put it over there. Because until you collapse all these individuals that are around you to the point where, I can't see the point of comparing myself to that person. I can't see myself. Now, you're having a change in perspective. When you have a change in perspective, you start to bring yourself back to center. When you bring yourself back to center, you're aware of your own values, your own vision, and the work that you're doing to get to your own North Star. So comparison, when you think about it, is a reminder that you're not aligned and you're not focused on what matters to you. Do that, get focused, aligned, confident, and certain, and you'll have nothing to compare yourself against anymore. Now, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. Please help me help more fitness professionals. And you'll also get notified when I post new episodes. If you're listening on iTunes, thank you as always. If you have any questions, you want to learn more about the coaching programs that we deliver, make sure you click the link in my bio or go to m10life.com. For now, I'll speak to you very soon.